Okay, guys, welcome to our third Fireside Chat. This time, our topic is going to be about positioned to profit, from financial clarity to multiple income stream. We have a great panel tonight who will be walking through various topics, and all of which are very qualified to have conversations about this topic. But before we get into that, let me go ahead and introduce you to our moderator. Okay. So our moderator, entrepreneur herself, is Dr. Vanessa Walker. She's also the president of Jamaican Women of Florida. She has her own chiropractic business and has been an entrepreneur for over 24 years. So talk about having the experience and the knowledge and understanding to guide this conversation. She's recognized as a leader in the Inc. 5000 honoree and recipient of the President's Lifetime Achievement Award. She's also very passionate about helping entrepreneurs and healthcare professionals grow their leadership and strategy business. So, ladies and gentlemen, I turn it over to Dr. V, as we affectionately call her.
Good evening and thank you, Yvette. I'm excited to have this conversation. I'm excited about our guests, our panelists this evening. So let's get into it. So I know when you come on the fireside chat, it's kind of like we're going through information, you're soaking up some, and don't kind of set the positioning of what should happen. So you've probably been to conferences. I've probably seen some of y'all at our conference, right? Our luncheon, where you get empowered, you get inspired, and then you don't walk away with a thing to do. So I want us to make a promise together that there will be some implementation after this, because who does not want to position themselves for profit? Who does not desire to get clarity that can transition into multiple stream of income? So promise me that you will do something for yourself by showing up tonight, by making sure that you walk away with something that you will implement in the next 72 hours. Sounds like a plan? All right, so we're going to go into it. I am not going to delay this afternoon or this evening. So let's start. I want some engagement. I want to know that you're here and you're on the right chat and you know that we're going to have a good conversation this evening. So here's a question that I have for you. Give me one word that describes how you feel about your finance. So that's in the chat. I want to hear how you feel about your money right now. In the chat, you're going to give me this information, one word to describe your finances. Content, grateful, dissatisfied, secure, in progress. These are some great, so I love the variety of this, the consistent. I love the variety of this because I can hear the vulnerability. I can hear the folks who are like, I'm here to get some information tonight. Tell me how these multiple streams of income, or how do I position myself, right? And want to hear from our panelists. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panelists so we can get to the information. And as I shared before, we have the people tonight. We got the folks tonight. So we have with us Makisha Murray, who is the Assistant Vice President of TD Bank. Some of y'all might be with TD Bank. So let's get the information. 27 years in banking and financial leadership, Assistant Vice President at TD Bank, expert in business development and financial growth strategy, and passionate about mentor and advocate for women leadership. We also have with us this evening, Kalia will be getting on shortly, Enriquez, and she's coming in from Jamaica. So we want to make sure time span, but we'll get her situated. So I'll read her bio in the interim of her getting home. She's the CEO of Money Media. You might see her on social media or on her Instagram, and a leading voice in the financial education across the Caribbean. She's the host of Talking Stocks with 10 million plus views on YouTube, award-winning journalist and the author of Money Mission Workbook. She's passionate about making wealth, building knowledge, and passionate about making wealth, building knowledge accessible and actionable. And we also have this evening Miss Annette Kidd. She is the CEO and president. And along with that, she has 40 years experience in marketing, branding, and business development. 40 years. Some of y'all not even 40 years old. She's the co-owner of Juicy Patty's Miramar, the flagship location, an entrepreneur who has turned one business into multiple streams of income with her hibiscus room, which we'll ask some questions in regards to that. She's a community-focused leader committed to impact and partnership in giving back. We are excited. Give them a round of applause. We're excited to have this diverse panelist this evening, but we are going to get to the conversation, right? So, yes, we're going to get to the conversation. So, in our first segment this evening, yes, give them those round of applause. In the first segment this evening, we will discuss financial clarity and control, a financial reality check. Who wants a reality check on their money? I saw some in progress. I saw some consistent, hopeful, diverse. So we're going to start off with our banker this evening, Nikisha. We want to know about the money. So I'm going to give you a second to get off mute so that we can hear about the money. All right. So I have a question for you. And my question is, many people focus on how they earn the money, but not how to produce or grow those dollars, right? Can you break down in simple terms for us the difference between earning money and actually managing money? And what are we getting wrong? What are we doing wrong?
So, good evening, everyone, and thank you guys so much for having me. So, earning money is really just one part of financial success, right? Managing money is really what determines how you build wealth or if you want to continue living paycheck to paycheck. So, in my field of work, of course, I meet people from all walks of life. I've met people making probably about $50,000 a year who happen to be financially secure because they know how to spend their money, they know how to manage it well, and they also know how to, let's say, keep their finances low, right? But then I've also met people who make 150 to millions of dollars a year who are constantly stressed because every single dollar that they spend is already out of their account before it hits the account. So money management is really all about telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went.
So, what are we doing wrong?
So what we're doing wrong is honestly, we're spending more than we save. We're also not finding other ways to multiply our money, right? I actually went to Wall Street Trapper training the other day because they had it at my church, and something that he said stuck with me, and I wrote it down. He said, "Poor people live paycheck to paycheck. Rich people live with a year's worth of savings, and wealthy people live generation to generation." What we're doing wrong is we want to live in the now, but we're not building generational wealth, right? We get our paycheck. We know that we have to pay all these bills, but we're not setting aside a savings. We also don't have investments accounts. We also don't have retirement accounts, right? We also don't have trusts in order to leave behind our finances, in order to transfer over our homes, or if we do have those retirement accounts. Those are the things that we're doing wrong. We're not making the right financial plans.
Thank you. Someone just said in the chat, beautifully said, and I agree with that, right? Miss Annette, I'm coming over to the entrepreneur because, as an entrepreneur, I earlier on I would say, if you don't kill it, you don't eat it, right? If you don't go to work and you don't work, if you don't work, it is not showing up, right? So I know with your 40 years plus of marketing, this may have become a stickler. So can you share with us real examples of what happens when you do not have a financial plan in place? And how do you stabilize your cash flow?
If you don't have a financial plan, you're going to walk around like in the wilderness, like you're lost. and you keep bumping into walls and you just don't know why. Because if you don't know your numbers and you don't know how they relate to how you operate your business or your life, then you're really making a lot of mistakes, and endlessly kind of you're like in the wheel, just turning and turning and turning, doing the same thing over and over again. So you have to stop and take stock and analyze the numbers. You look at what's coming in and what's going out. And like Makisha said, are you spending more than you make? Are you saving? Are you investing? In business, as an entrepreneur, real life story. I've been in the franchise business now for about a year and a half. It's not a lot of time in business, right? But I've learned a lot in that short space of time. And one thing I know is find people who are doing it and doing it right and learn from them. Fast track yourself. Um, Make sure that you're making the investment in yourself to understand finances. If that's not your strong point, find someone who can help you, guide you. Fortunately for me, because I'm in a franchise, they have structure. They have um, accounting and accountability, and they've streamlined the process in the way that it forces you to do things in a way that you have to basically report back to them. So now I have to make sure that my books are proper. It goes through a slew of checks and balances. And as a result of that, it's made me a better handler of my finances. I now know that there's certain months of the year, like the summertime, that's really, really hard. So we need to make sure we make changes to our books to allow for those changes, those ebbs and flows. If you know that the summer months are going to be tough from experience, what do you do ahead of summer? You start to make those changes. So it's being responsible in your finances, it's being accountable, and it's learning from people who have done it and done it well and really pulled that information in and put it to work, like you said.
Awesome. Thank you for that. From both your conversation, I hear the spending, not saving. Is there anything you can share with us? Like, is there one expense that people are that people are actually doing that are holding them back, right? That could give a room for saving, but we believe we should. And if there is there one expense that you think is actually holding us back when we're doing that expense?
Not sure I can take that off the cuff. If that if that investment is not yielding a return,
Yes.
that would be the immediate answer I would have. For instance, maybe you're doing, for instance, I was actually doing a particular type of advertising, right? But I couldn't quantify the return on the investment. And so I had to stop that particular type of advertising to see whether or not my numbers dipped when I stopped it. And they really didn't. So that answered the question for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And I think in anything that you're doing, if it's not yielding a response that you expect it to yield, then you maybe ought to think about not doing it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, I was gonna say the morning coffee, but touche. But okay, so as we're going into that, Makisha, if you can kind of give us the thought process of if we were to kind of get into go back, let me see. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm moving. Okay. Yes. So before we get there, let's go into this poll. And I think this poll will do well in opening our thought process and our mindset towards money management. So, all right. If your income stopped today, how long would you survive?
Mm.
If your income was to stop today, how long would you survive? And I think we're doing a poll in the background in regards to that.
I want to double back if I could
Yeah, you
on
can
your
do that in the
question.
interim.
You said the coffee.
Yes.
I'm gonna hit it really hard. and that is, and don't shoot the messenger. But if you really need to tighten your belt, then you have to look at things like eating out, doing your hair and nails, buying clothes, shopping,
See, I was
luxury
waiting.
items. You really have to evaluate what's really important and make some tough decisions to say, let me pause on these things, really make sure that I'm okay, and actually push more into my savings because things are really, really rough for a lot of people. I just saw in the news, foreclosures are up 21% year over year. That's pretty alarming. And there are people out there that they've lost pretty big income jobs. So we have to fortify ourselves in a very ever-changing world. And sometimes you have to kind of pull back. Doesn't mean you're going to walk around looking raggedy now. Don't get me wrong. That's just not it. You're just being responsible and being smart with your finances. And when things get better, you go back to your routine. But in the meantime, just pull back.
Okay.
If I
Thank
can
you.
chime
Oh,
in
go
behind
ahead. Yes,
that,
please.
I am 1,000% on board with her. As you can see, these curls are popping. Yes, thank you very much. Listen, so I just recently purchased a condo. So I'll be very transparent. I want to say I bought my first house when I was 26, lost it due to foreclosure. That's when the market crashed. My bank was bought out at that time. I did not have a job and I lost my home. I just recently, last month, purchased a home and it's just a small tutu. But the thing was, is that I had to take a step back and I really had to think about, all right, is it important for me to pay $300 now in order for me to be able to get my hair braided so I can look good and can step out and buy champagne when we step out? This is not on behalf of TD Bank, but I'm just being honest with us because I know we have some young folks in the chat, right? I used to spend like $140 on my nails because, I just want to look different. I want to look good. I want to feel good. That wasn't cutting it. You understand? So, like, all right, I'm going to Jamaica for independence. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my hair done. I'm going to get my nails done. I'm going to splurge a little bit. But I refused to purchase another home that was more than what for my mortgage to be more than what my current rent was. Right. So I was paying $1,550 a month for my rent. That's great. Financially, it did not make sense for me to purchase a home that's 400,000 if I know that I'm only paying 1550. That's the reason why I waited so long to finally I purchase. Now my mortgage is like $1,100. You see the difference? So there's sacrifices that we have to make. What I won't sacrifice though is my car. I'm a car girly. But I'm just saying sometimes we do have to take the step back. And that's exactly what I did. Everything Miss Annette just said is 1,000% correct. Eating from home, making sure that I pack my lunch. Not only does it do well for me to take off weight, but I know what's going into my meals. These are the small changes that we have to make in order to start setting ourselves up financially to be able to become wealthy. Because as Black people, as Caribbean people, we don't know how to set up our generations for success. And that's really what it's all about.
Thank you for that. So we had our poll, and the results you can see on the screen. It says 1 to 2 weeks, I would be secure. 1 to 2 months, I'd be secure. And the majority, 86%, says that 3+ months. So that means we have some money in our savings. So thank you for that. All right. So we're going to go into second segment, which is considered our structure and stability. And we'll continue in our structure and stability. And I would ask one question before we move into our second section. I'm sorry. And I would ask Makisha, how do we create what's considered a simple money system, right? A system that can work, not really just something we put on paper, but something that can truly work to benefit us.
So you have to, one, take a look at all your finances and you have to be able to separate it. So first thing you should do is pay yourself first. The second thing I do is pay my tithes because I believe in being able to pay that forward into the community as well. You should have a savings account. You should have an emergency fund. And something that I just recently learned is that we need to have at least a year emergency fund. For those other people, they say 3 to 6 months, but for us, because situations are different, it might take us a little longer to get a job if we get let go, right? So we want to keep at least a year, and then also have investment or a wealth building account where you can purchase stocks or bonds, or have some kind of investment account where your money is actually working for you. And to me, that is the best way to separate your finances and make sure that you're starting on the right path.
Thank you. I'm going to follow up with that. When I was getting into business, a mentor told me to read the book that's called Profit First. And in Profit First, it tells you about having like 5 bank accounts. And I think it was kind of, when I say 5 bank accounts, in the same leverage under, your business. And I would ask if that can be tiered to, those in life. Should we have separate buckets, right? Clear buckets or clear accounts of finances?
Yes, most definitely. You should have a bills account, a spending account, your savings account, the emergency fund, and also the investment or wealth account that I mentioned. Because when your money has a destination, you're less likely to actually use it accidentally or spend it. That's called budgeting.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? I actually do that for business, but haven't done that for life. So thank you for sharing about the bills and additional accounts.
Right. Because for business too, it's very important that you guys do that based upon your tax returns, how you have to file, and that you have to be accounting for every dollar that you spend in your business. But personal, it's important to do that as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So, Miss Annette, I think
Yeah.
there's a behavior and a mindset shift that has to happen with entrepreneurship in order for you to be successful.
Mhm.
Can you speak to us a little bit about what are some characteristics? Give us some life experience, as being an entrepreneur. What are those building blocks do you feel that are needed in order to be a successful entrepreneur?
Well, you have to have a lot of skin in the game, and a thick skin is very important. You have to be able to discern what is real for you and what is relevant. Um, you got to be able to put out all the noise and be able to focus on what is right for you in the moment. You also need to have mentors, people who you can turn to, who can help you, guide you, give you good advice. And be careful who you choose. Are they successful in what they're doing? Are they already doing what you want to do? So make sure you choose wisely. I invest in myself in going to conferences and seminars and reading books and podcasts. I'm constantly looking for ways to learn and grow. So I invest in myself in that regard. I network. One of the things that I've been doing for over 40 years is I am a member of organizations like JWOF. I'm a member of the chamber. I look for other, organizations and groups that I can be a part of and align myself. In business, I am a partner with the city. So I look for ways for me to expand my network by joining myself with groups that already have like-minded people who can help me. So when I need something, I now have a huge network of people that I can go to. So being in business, being successful requires that you look at different facets of that business life and make sure that you have the different areas accounted for that you can turn to. Between my husband and I, we have probably over 6,000 contacts in our phone that we can call at any moment for any reason. People come to us and ask, do you know this person? Do you know that person? And we always have ways to connect people. I've always been told that I'm a great connector. And that's because of all of the established relationships that I've been able to curate over the years. But investing in yourself, finding a mentor, really building yourself, your core self, to make sure that you can even grow and be able to withstand the tough times when they come. Because believe you me, right now, it is tough.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So we're going to go into another poll segment. And this one shares. We talked about a few of them, but not a poll. I want you to drop in the chat what one expense you could reduce this month. We heard a few, but what's one you believe you can reduce this month that would add to your savings and maybe even have you call Makisha for enhancement in your stock account? The clothes shopping, I understand. I have a lot of carts right now. Food, you can't just cut off food. What kind of food, Dr. Jaja? What kind of food? Because we got to eat. Eating out, I can understand that. Shopping, eating out, nails, unless we're getting something different. Press on, right? The cable bill, okay, I hear that. I hear that. Lunch buys. So that means we're going to start to doing some meal prep in order to make that happen. So thank you all for that great insight. In regards in here, brunches, let's say brunch. We can't call it all of them, but brunch, because we still got to engage and network. But what are those things that you would do? All right, the cable bill, cut off the cable bill. I'm with that. I'm with that. All right. So we all have a few things that we know that we can put in place in order to make sure that we have savings and maximize our dollars in the next 72 hours. All right. We're going to go over into segment 2. And segment 2 is going to talk about our foundation and first income stream, right? So you may be in a position where you have your first income stream, and there's a thought process of how do I get ready? Right. So I'm going to, how do I get ready? Now that I have the income stream, how do I get ready? So, Makisha, talk to us. What financial signals can allow us to say that I'm ready for the second income?
So for me, one is to make sure that your bills are consistently paid on time, right? To ensure that you have an emergency fund that's started, that your debt currently is manageable, and your cash flow is in positive each month, and that you're not relying on your credit cards or lines of credit to survive. And when your foundation is stable, then you have more capacity to be able to take more calculated risks. So that means that there isn't really one particular amount or number you should be at. You really have to take the time, go through your bills line by line, and ensure that you're okay before you start the next stream of income, so that you know that you're able to manage it and properly invest it.
Thank you. What does that look like? What is there a dollar amount? And I know that may vary for everyone, right? So what's considered a cushion? I know we talked about months.
Right.
Yeah, but what's considered a cushion?
So technically the people them said 3 to 6 months, right? But I believe you should definitely start with 3 to 6 months. And at least if you can keep a year worth of savings, I think that is going to be the best thing that you can do. Make sure that you are paying your high interest debt first, to make sure that is under control. So say if you have a credit card that's at 30%, you want to pay that credit card down and off, because you're paying more in order to carry that debt. Having a monthly positive cash flow, cannot stress that enough. And then also too, have enough income that investing is just another opportunity that won't actually jeopardize your basic living expenses. So for example, usually with investing, you should have those accounts where they say anywhere from 10 to 20 years in order for you to actually make a great return on your funds, right? But if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you see one day you lost $2,000 in your investment account, you won't be stressing out about that, right? Because that's not a stream of income that you're currently depending on, because eventually it'll balance back out. So I think the biggest mistake too is just trying to earn too much too soon as well. Like people chase more income before they even know how to manage the income that they already have. And all that's doing is just adding more debt to what you already have because you believe you have more money. That means that you have more money to spend when you're not properly managing the current debt that you have.
Thank you. That's very insightful. Thank you. Miss Annette. So I
Yes,
want you to
ma'am.
share with us. I told you I was going to get in your business tonight. So I would like for you to share with us what was your first stream of income? And if there was something, what did you believe you got wrong?
Well, if I go back to way back when I first started trying to be an entrepreneur, um, I used to be in multi-level marketing. I mean, that was my first stream of income. Okay, talking about the Amways and all the other types of things. So I tried them all. I tried all different types, and of course, those are not really ideal in some cases. Worked for some people, but didn't really work for me. Um, in my current state, though. I definitely see, obviously, there's already a path to success because it's already been done for 45 years because I'm in a system that's already been working. So I'm basically piggybacking on that. But before that, to be honest, I tried a myriad of things to create a positive income stream for myself. There was never a time where I wasn't doing a hustle, so to speak, right? Uh, and being a Jamaican, I had 3 jobs or more, so that was very typical. So that doesn't change, even though I have one business model right now, right? In that one business model, I have at least 4 income streams tied to it. So when I created the location I have, I wanted it to have multiple income streams built into it. So I can do catering, I can do event marketing, I can rent out a space, I can have different type of events curated in my space. I can go outside and do events. I can bring people to me or I can go to them so within that one business model, it now has multiple income streams. An ice cream shop, to give you another example, they could get a cart with their ice cream, and I know you guys know someone who does that, and go to events and sell their ice cream, or even they can be hired for the day for parties or for weddings. So even though they have an ice cream shop, they now have created multiple income streams for themselves because they can now utilize what they have and go into different avenues to make money. So you have to look at what you have in your hand and how can you multiply that in different ways.
You tapped into something there. You said the side hustle. And I feel like I had a side hustle from knee high. So at one point, does it goes from side hustle to something serious, right? When do we say, we selling lemonade to we're selling lemonade on the shelf? At what point do you say a side hustle transition? Because most time you have entrepreneurs that have 9 to 5 and you have a good skill. Because I know every Jamaican know to cook some good food. So now the plate come onto your house. So at what point do we say transition this to an actual be serious about it?
You have to have certain things in place before you can make that. And first of all, is it making enough finances for you to really qualify as a business, right? Is the money in more than the money out? And is that consistent? Is it allowing you to pay everything you've spent creating that income and then have stuff left over? So to validate it, you have to analyze and determine if the business is actually producing a profit for you. And is that consistently happening month after month? And is it growing? Then it can become a bona fide income stream. But plenty of times, and I've done this myself, you're spinning the wheel and you're thinking, oh, I'm making money, I'm making money. No, you're creating action, right? You're doing busy work, but at the end of the day, when you really put pen to paper and you look at what I spent, including your time, because a lot of time we don't even evaluate the time that we spent on it and put a dollar towards that. Um, is what we spent in everything that we've done equal less than what we actually earned? And then at that point, you can say, yeah, okay, then this side hustle is worth it. And let me do more of it and figure out how to expand it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So we talked about the side hustle. So in the chat, I would like for you all to tell me one skill you have that someone would pay you for. I just talked about the food. I feel like every Jamaican know how to cook because if you come to my house, I can sell you a plate. Right. So do you believe you have a skill that can transition into, maybe for now it starts as a side hustle, but it can produce a side income, but then thereafter designing, or violet. Oh, yeah, real skills in here. Fitness, banking, baking. Okay, accounting services. Absolutely. You see all these side hustles y'all turning up in here, baking. All right. So we have those things that are on the inside of us. So, all right, we'll transition into our segment 3. And I would like to start, and I'm going to volley this back to Miss Annette again. And can you give us a real life experience that you walked away from? This didn't make sense. It just didn't build the direction. It may have been distracting you from other opportunities, and why you walked away. We can't hear you. You're on mute.
Man, it probably was one of those side hustles that I chased for a few years and realized that, yeah, the trips were nice, the conferences were nice, the meetings were nice, everything sounds good. But at the end of the day, I couldn't show what it was producing for me and my family. I was putting money out, and it was kind of a feel good moment type of thing. But in reality, it really wasn't benefiting um, what I was aiming for, right? I wanted to have an additional income to generate for my family, but I definitely said that it was a mistake.
And Miss Makisha, what financial mistakes do people make when scaling their income too fast, right? So everybody have a side hustle now. We have identified that we have multiple side hustles, and we may start using them. We may start baking. We may put out an ad for interior designing. What are the mistakes that will come along when scaling?
I want to say that they're just gonna go ahead, like you said, and spend it way before it even hits the account. Um, Also, too, not keeping some money aside, you know. So if you have your side hustle, like Miss Annette just said as well, you're not paying yourself, right? You're not keeping money aside for what you're doing or what you may spending, you know. And I feel like that's some of the biggest mistakes. Or sometimes you don't take also your percentage of saving from your side hustle to put aside. You just automatically start spending that.
Thank you for that. We're going to go into another poll here. And with this poll, how many of you feel busy but not accomplishing your financial goals in your businesses? And you can pick from the lineup there. Right. So you're having your business, you're always business, is busy, is not reflecting the money. You're making money, but you don't have clarity towards that or strategy for growth. I have clarity and I'm building multiple streams of income. Miss Annette just shared she has a flagship location, but when she got that location, she wanted to make sure she could have multiple streams and define that location as that. Okay, let's see what our poll says. All right, so we have 14% that says always busy, but my money isn't reflecting it. And then we have 64% that says I'm making money, but I don't have clear strategies to grow it. We have 21% that says I have clarity and I'm building multiple streams of income. So at the 64%, let's sit there for a little bit. Miss Annette, if you
Yes,
can share
ma'am.
with us, because I hear here, I'm making the money, but I don't have clear strategies to grow it. If you can share with us, because what did you have to do to make sure that you're continuing to grow and placing strategies behind that growth?
Um, well, it was being able to evaluate your financials every month,
Okay.
and see where your profit flow is coming from. Uh, you can easily tell what's dragging it down and what is not producing as you would need it to. So for me, having the main part of my business, which is the juicy patties, but then I also have the hibiscus room. So my focus in the beginning was really the juicy patties and pushing that out, and eventually rolling in the hibiscus room. So it took time for me to be able to bring that in, but in order to determine what is really being profitable is when you look at the books and see, okay, how much is it generating this month? And is it generating enough to contribute a percentage that matches the space that it takes? So for instance, if my business has out of 100%, that space is 33%, then it should be contributing that much towards the bottom line, right? Some of the expenses. So you have to evaluate that and see, okay, where's my shortfall and what do I need to do to amp that up? And I have to really make sure that I'm um, investing, because in order for you to make money, you got to invest. And so in the beginning, you're going to be investing a lot more than you're making for the short term. But you should start to see a return on those investments coming forth, and be able to evaluate every month and see that grow. And I'm beginning to see that.
Awesome. So here's another question, because I believe sometimes we start a business, and sometimes if it's not a franchise and you have this strategy build out, as you say, you have guidance, you have coaching, but we may start something that's independent, right? At what point do you say, I need help, I need to start to delegate, and that delegation can transition to scaling?
When you're actually, I have done that. I have reached out for help and say, hey, you know what? I feel like there's some areas I need to do better in. And I actually took my profit and loss statement to another franchisee and say, hey, I see that you're doing really well, but what are some things that you can guide me on to show me how I can tweak this, how I can get better? And they were very forthcoming with the information. And I took what they said and started to make some changes and adjustments,
Okay.
and lower spending in areas where I could, change vendors, change, the type of places I was ordering from, moving things around, changing some marketing strategies, doing some things that would then alter the books and kind of right side it up, if you will. And in making those changes, I began to see the change month after month, little after little. And oh my goodness, I'm really proud of what the changes that I've seen have accomplished. But I turned to someone who I could see that they were already doing it, and got the information and applied it.
Success leaves clues, and the key to the success is not different. Sometimes we just decide to cut our own key, and I believe that's where we get it wrong. Makisha, tell me, what are the financial disciplines what financial discipline looks like at a higher income level, right? We all desire to be multimillionaires and billionaires. What kind of discipline do you see on that side?
It means your lifestyle doesn't outgrow your income.
Ooh.
I had one of my clients who used to ride a bike, and I don't know, you guys know the Jesus slippers, and had a cracked iPhone screen. Meanwhile, he was one of my wealthiest customers that I had in my store. And I want to say he said he moved from Israel and he slept in his warehouse when he first started his business, him and his brother. Until now, they can pay for a house cash with a wire. It's just easy. The thing is that we really have to take the time out to understand what it is we want to do and how we want to invest our money. And I do want to put in a plug. Everyone here has a bank account somewhere. I want to advise you guys, go to your bank. It doesn't have to be TD Bank. It could be any other financial institution. Speak to your bankers. That's what they're there for. You know, there's times that you have a personal banker that'll be able to help you with your personal accounts. There are financial advisors that offer you financial advice for free to show you other avenues that you can start to save your money and make 5 times more than what is doing currently in your savings account. So take the time out, make the time, go to your local bank, whoever you bank with, and speak to your advisor, speak to the business banker if you're a business owner. Find out what they can provide you for free so that you would be able to help grow that money that you have sitting there. Because we said, what, 65% on the poll, and no one knows what to do with it. That means that they're not going to their bankers and they're not having conversations about how they can grow their money financially. Sorry, I just had to put that in there.
No, so because you did, now I got another question for you, right? So being that you've put that in, what should we ask them? Maybe, maybe our banker don't look like you and may not want to give us all the information, or maybe they just don't know what to give us in that moment. What are some things? And if I was to pose that in a question, what system separates people who build wealth versus those who just make money? What are we asking them?
So first you want to ask them, the first thing that's a trigger is interest rates, right? Everyone and every Caribbean person I know just want to roll over a CD at 2% a month. There are other avenues, people. There are things called annuities where you can lock it away. If you have judgments, it is the reason. Do you know the reason why they say, what's his name? Was he a boxer? But he killed the lady in the Bronco. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name.
OJ?
OJ Simpson. Thank you.
Girl, we
The
all
whole
know
reason
OJ.
why OJ Simpson moved to Florida and he still has money is because his money is wrapped up in annuities. That's the reason why he still had money, because it helps to grow the money. It's financially secured. Whatever you put in as principal, it's safe. You go to your banker and you tell them, listen, I want to earn more money. Is there someone that I can speak to? Even if they don't look like you have to make friends with your banker, because if you don't, they're not going to steer you in the right direction. Okay. Automated savings accounts are some of the systems that help you to create money. Meaning the day that you get paid, you can set up an automated transfer from your account into a savings account. Or you can even add that additionally. If you're getting direct deposit from your job, you can add that additionally as a different account. So like I have an account at Capital One, money automatically goes into my savings account that I don't touch. There's not too many cafes for Capital One around, right? Then you also want to start your automating investing. Something that I learned about that I'm actually going to do through TD as well is that they actually have automated systems where it's like a robo vesting, where you can sign up, you can put in a certain amount, whatever you want to start for, and then you can automatically take out, say, $25 each paycheck, $50, $100, and the robobots actually start investing for you, where you don't have to worry about that. That sets aside. We already talked about making sure that you have your emergency funds, making sure that you review your budget, right? Ensure that if you have a 401k with your job, that you're maxing out to whatever contribution they have, because that's free money for you. Estate planning is very important for us. And also doing financial check-ins, like on a quarterly basis, if you can, right? To ensure that you're staying within your means and you're actually reviewing your finances to see how your investments are doing.
Thank you. Y'all have exactly what to ask when you go in. And we'll take questions in just shortly, but you have the details. Makisha told you what you need to go in and ask. You know, as I'm hearing this conversation, I remember when chiropractic felt like a side hustle to me. If I could be transparent, when I started my practice and I didn't know anything about marketing, Miss Annette, I didn't know. I just made a flyer. I made sure my face looked cute. I got on the flyer and spread it in the community. You want an adjustment? You want an adjustment? Everybody get an adjustment, because I just felt like I needed to open my office, right? I wanted to serve the people. So I share that to say that those who have listed what could be a side hustle for them, there is a mindset that goes behind, I'm going to win at this. I'm going to work hard at this. I'm going to win at this. And that was my mindset. I was like, this is the profession that I've been given, and I need to maximize it. There were seasons where my mom was like, you should be doing this or you should do that. Why is your office hours like this? You don't work on Saturday weekends. People are busy. But I had a mindset to win. So I want to encourage all the participants who have listed out the things that they desire to do, is to have a mindset and start small, right? If it's fitness, there are folks who have apps now that can be created by AI that says it's $47 a month that allows for you to do these exercises. And that's literally a stream of income. If you have 10 people paying you $47 a month, that's $470, and Makisha will take it from you to do something with it, right? So I want to encourage you all, as I'm 12 years later, multiple streams of income in practice, because I stuck to the plan, and it became mindset marketing. Miss Annette has 40 years experience, because if no one knows about that good side hustle that you have, if no one knows about the bacon, if no one knows about the banking system, the personal accounting that you have, if no one knows about the fitness or the designing, if no one knows about it, then ain't no money coming from it. So I went from small marketing to big marketing. And even before I had my practice, I was selling vitamins. I build a database. You talk about 6,000 people in your database. Some people knew me from selling vitamins until I got into practice, and they were like, well, if her vitamins was good, her practice is good. And now that I'm in practice, I started my own brand of vitamins. I say that to say that anyone who believe that they have a desire for additional stream of income, it's a mindset thing. And once you put the strategies in place, there's a marketing position that happens. Once you start to marketing, great customer service, because even though Miss Annette is giving you some juicy patty, it ain't about the patty. It's the fact that she smile and say thank you and say, I want you to come again, and say, you know what? I remember you said it was your daughter's birthday. Here's an extra patty for her, or whatever that may be. Is the customer service that allows people to stay where they are. So this has been a great conversation, right? And I know that we have some questions, and I don't want to skip over the questions, but I want to encourage you that this week I'm celebrating, or this month I'm celebrating my 12-year anniversary, but I literally start with like, hey, let me just open a chiropractic office. And while there are others who may have a business plan, I didn't. Right. So those who are saying accounting, that is a strong detail of thing that you can move behind to say that I'm going to offer people a service that's needed. So here's a couple questions. What should we do when we see minus earnings in our investment accounts? And I think there's a piggyback. I'm told to leave it, but I mean, the money decreasing. Makisha, what we supposed to do? Do we panic when we see the money drop? When we go
Well,
to war and the money drop, do we scream?
so we should not scream, but we should have an expert review it. So that's what I was trying to explain. So I like real life scenarios. So at one point I had my 401k with TD, and I was not earning enough money. So I had one of the financial advisors take a look at my investments, and he was able to tweak it to where now I'm earning money on that. So that's why I'm telling you to take a look at the accounts that you're currently investing in. Have someone that's familiar, and you know what else you can do. Believe it or not, you can take a screenshot of what probably your last investment statement looks like, upload it into Chat GPT, and it will give you some decent feedback. So that is something that you also can use as well. So most of the time it's safer to leave it because it's going to drop, but it also can turn around. But first, that's why I said have someone review it to see it first, because maybe it's in something that's just not going to gain a return. But don't be quick. After how long has it been sitting there, if you don't mind? How long has it been as a negative balance sharing?
Dr. Jaja, how long has your money been?
Ooh, nah, sis. You got to get somebody to look at that ASAP.
Okay.
And if you don't have someone, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right. So, Dr. Jaji, here you got to have somebody look into that account, make sure that money is working for you. We have Kalila that has joined us. You know, there's an hour difference in Jamaica. So, listen, I am asking you all for an additional 15, maybe 20 minutes so that I can ask her some questions because she came to give us the information. But this time difference messed just allowed us not to. So can I get those 15 minutes? If I can, just give me a yes in the chat, please. So me and her don't feel uncomfortable when we're talking and then nobody listening. All right, we appreciate it. We absolutely appreciate it. All right, so if I can just volley back, we did introduce her earlier on, but she's the CEO of Money Media and a leading voice in financial education across the Caribbean. So, Kalila, look, I am just going to throw some questions to you and we're just going to have a conversation, wrap it up in a bowl. And then if there's questions, we'll grab onto that and tie our panelists in as much, no, well, if needed, right? So I follow you on social media. And I know you've been doing what you've been doing for years and didn't start in uh and started in media. So there's a lot of folks who say they're influencers now. And tell me at what point do we realize or you realize that dollars in what you were doing as your gift was sustainable for you to say, no, I'm really going to do this. So talk to us, right? We may have some thinking about media, thinking about social and how does that work?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm so sorry about the mix-up. Let me plug in this other mic so you can hear me a little bit better. One sec here. All right, let's change the source.
I wonder if anybody noticed the theme. Everybody's hair is short or natural or just look at that.
All right, here we go. All right, you guys hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you were asking at what point did I realize that doing what I do now is sustainable? That's the question?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who are not familiar with my story, I am a journalist. So that's what I went to school to study. That's what I wanted to be since I was in high school. And I've been a broadcast journalist for many years in Jamaica and also in Belize, where I'm originally from. And at some point along the line, I ended up doing financial journalism. Yes, the short here is liberating and affordable. I love that. That's one of the reasons I cut it short because it's just so easy. Anyway, ended up doing financial journalism. And this was a time when Jamaica was going through a big transition. The stock market was booming. We had the number one stock exchange in the world for 2 years, 2015, 2018. And I started covering those stories. Now, there came a point when I'm covering these stories. I was working on radio at the time, Nationwide News Network. I was the business and finance news editor. But there's so many things going on. There's all these IPOs, which to me was very exciting because it's a huge opportunity to make money, and making money is always exciting to me, right? There's all these IPOs going on. There's companies that are, you can double and triple your money in a few months' time. By the end of the year, you're up 100%. It was quite a time to be around in Jamaica. But now I'm covering this for the news, and in news, you have to compete with politics, you have to compete with crime, you have to compete with sports, all the sexier topics, right? Business is supposedly boring. So I started doing it on social media since I felt like my stories weren't getting the airtime that they deserved because there's this perception that the stories are boring. But when I started doing it on social media, that got immediate traction. Like immediately people were interested, they saw the value, they wanted more. And within a year of me posting on social media, I was making more on social than I was from my regular job.
Are they gonna go pee?
Between social and paid speaking engagements and that type of thing. And I found that my 9 to 5, so to speak, because in media there's really no 9 to 5, but my main job was holding me back from making more money from what had begun as my side hustle. Actually, what began as my passion project, I was just doing it for fun, evolved into a side hustle, and now it was making more money than my main job. And at that point, I said, no, it's time for me to leave. And I really enjoyed doing it anyway. So,
So you just shared how you test the water. So what is the fastest way someone can test if people will pay them for their knowledge?
by charging, just put an offer out there and charge and see who will pay.
See, told you, fitness, $47 a month. Absolutely. So when people are thinking about the side hustle, right? And branding and even making money, what's that thought of overthinking? Are they overthinking? Is it something, can I get up tomorrow and just start talking chiropractic online and people are going to say, yes, I'm going to pay you for that?
So it might take a little while to establish your credibility, but you absolutely 100% can get up tomorrow and start talking chiropractic online. And you never know who's watching. So I've gotten some of my biggest jobs from TikTok, where people, and my international jobs from TikTok. So the past 2 times I've been booked by a client outside Jamaica, they found me on TikTok and they were following me for a while. So yeah, you do on one video and you might get somebody's attention, but the sustainability, they're going to look at your track record. After they originally discover you, they're going to look at your page. Is this something that this person speaks on regularly? How well do they speak on it? What are the other credentials? So just start. The sooner you can start and put yourself out there, the sooner you start having a track record online, and it gives people the opportunity to find you.
Do you believe that there's some content that actually converts over others? And if so, is there a style of content that is?
So you have to ask for it. And that's why at the end of almost all my videos, I have a call to action.
Yeah. Okay.
So I will say, comment this keyword. So I use a program called ManyChat. And you may have seen this on people's things, or you wonder why so many people are commenting the same word. It's a program called ManyChat that sends you a link to your DMs, and then the person can click and sign up for whatever it is you're offering. So if you don't ask, more often than not, you're not going to receive. But what God said, ask and ye shall receive. So ask for what you want. Tell people, comment, or just tell people where to find whatever it is that you're offering, and let them know that's the content that converts. Sometimes people will seek you out and find it, but if the easier you can make it for people to purchase what you have to offer, the more likely they are to convert.
How do you avoid being popular over profitability? Right? So they see you. You want to make sure, can I get some coins behind that, right?
Poor and
How do you
famous.
avoid, say again?
Poor and Famous.
Poor and Famous. Yes.
I have a friend who did a song called Poor and Famous years ago. But yeah, so if you have attention, if you're able to command attention, which is what popularity is, right? Especially on social media, if you are able to command the attention of an audience, that is something that you can monetize. So if you are popular on social media, if you're not monetizing, that's your fault because there is absolutely 100% a way for you to monetize that attention. I was looking at Kim Kardashian today, and she had a new ad out for a drink that she is promoting. I think she's an equity partner in it now. And I saw somebody post something about the Kardashian family. Do you remember 15 years ago when everybody used to say the Kardashians were famous for being famous and famous for doing nothing?
Yes.
And now they have built this multi-billion-dollar empire. They have Skims. Well, she has Skims. Chloe has Good American. Kylie has Kylie Cosmetics, multiple multi-billion-dollar companies. So they're not just famous for being famous anymore, but they figured out the formula to transfer the attention that they had being famous for being famous into actual money. Like they're now the blueprint. So they not only do brand deals, they've taken it a step further now where they're equity partners in multiple business ventures, either owners outright or equity partners in things that they promote. So they're not just taking a check to promote an item, they're now taking an equity stake to promote that item.
So as you talk about the Kardashian, and they were building for years, right? They were always in our face. For us who are just, I'm just maybe tomorrow about to start or put on my face on social media. At what is there a breaking point or a timeline that you would say you can go from content to income?
Not necessarily. So, like I said, it takes some time to establish the credibility, but go into it from day one, treating it like a business from day one. And I think that's where the biggest difference was for me in how successful I was able to be with Money Media, although we still have a long way to go. But from day one, when I was designing everything, I structured it like a business. I'm like, okay, this business has to make money. I'm not just going to do things for popularity's sake because I think it's going to be a great video. I still do some of those but there's strategy behind it, right? The strategy is there are going to be things that bring attention and new followers to the page in general, so that when I do post my paid content or stuff that is sponsored or stuff that I make money from in some way or form, then we have a bigger audience to view it. Because unfortunately here in Jamaica, we don't get paid directly for views. In other markets, like in the US, Instagram pays you for views, Facebook pays you for views. In Jamaica, we don't get paid for views. So we have a bigger challenge in monetizing, since our main avenues for monetizing is through sponsorships, advertising, maybe digital products or physical products that you may have as a creator, merchandise, books, that kind of thing. But in the US, if you're popular and you're able to get views, you can get paid directly by the platform. So that is one hurdle less that you have to deal with.
As you're speaking to smart scaling, so you talked about being on social and now transition that into brand deals and book and so on and so forth. So you stream or, scale that income in a smart way.
And owning your content.
Talk to us about owning the content.
So I come from the world of media, and my original idea was for a TV show. And the two major TV networks turned me down, TVJ and CVM. They weren't interested. And it turned out to be a good thing that they turned me down, because now I own 100% of my content. If I had gone with them, they would own the content and I would probably get paid to do this show. But the other person I was watching today is Oprah. Oprah just did a podcast with Keke Palmer, and Oprah was talking about the very same thing, about how she came to own Harpo Studios, own her show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, owns the Oprah Winfrey Network, and all of that. So and how it was really important for her to realize that ownership was the key. So as creators, as media creators, for me, a producer working in media, I was building up somebody else's product with my content.
Yeah.
Now I have the opportunity to build my own product with my content. And now the next step is me collaborating with other people to build kind of a network of people who are doing similar types of content. So this summer, I have a bunch of interns. I call them fellows. We have our Money Media fellows, and they've been creating content for the platform. So you'll see them all over my page. And that's where I was just now. I was just with them, filming some content and giving them guidance on, what to do, how to make their stuff more engaging and so on.
Awesome. So talk to us, right? How and if like burnout. I know there's the building of the content, there's the recording of the content. Is that a systematic way? It's not a 9 to 5, right? So how do you curate time and what looks like and how you avoid burnout?
Yeah, it's going to happen in the early stages while you're still figuring stuff out. The good part is that in those early stages, you're probably going to have the most energy about it as well. So move when you have the energy. I heard somebody say, move when you feel moved. That's going to give you the energy to do it. At some point, you're gonna realize maybe this is not the most efficient way to do it. You're going to figure out systems that help you. So in the beginning, I was doing a lot, and I was doing it when I just had a baby. So I had a newborn and a 1-year-old at the same time that I was trying to build my company and do all of this content. And I don't know if I would say I was burnt out, but I really was doing the most. I wasn't really burnt out because I was highly motivated at the time. But my husband was the one who said, yo, you got to slow down. You're doing too much. And that caused me to implement systems to make things a lot more efficient. So today, I don't work as much as people think I work. People say, oh, Kalila, you're always busy, you're always doing this and that. And they assume I'm always busy because they see me posting content all the time. We post 3 times a day, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I'm always creating. It just means that I'm very smart about how I create and strategically post and drip those pieces of content out over several days. So today at the studio with the Money Media fellows, we recorded like 10 pieces of content for the next 2 weeks. And we got all of that done in a day, including scripting. So we had our meeting yesterday where we came up with our ideas. We did our scripting, I did our review, and then we recorded. And then the next step is going to be editing. And that's going to be posted over the next 2 weeks. And people are going to feel like, oh my God, we've been doing all this work. Every minute we're posting new content, not knowing that there's a process that makes it seem like a lot more work than it actually is.
Thank you.
So right now I work about 4 hours a day.
4 hours a day. Let's switch. But thank you so much. We thought we weren't going to get to chat, but we did. So if you have questions for all of our panelists, drop them in the chat while I'm going to have you all go through this final session. Remember, I said we have to take some action today. This is not going to be the fireside chat that we come on and, like a conference, we walk away and there's nothing that we take away from this evening. I saw some wonderful ideas that dropped in the chat. So I want you to do this for me. We're only going to take 60 seconds. So thank you for the 15 minutes. I stole 4 more, 60 seconds right now. I would like for you all to write down one realistic income opportunity that's based on your skill, experience, or resource that you already have. And if you want to, you can drop in the chat.
I can read a few for you. I see IT specialist. I see event marketing.
Okay, awesome.
I see occupational therapy. and accounting services.
All right. I'm going to have someone who's bold enough to jump on. And I would like you to share a couple of things. Actually, let's talk through that idea. Who's going to jump on quick? Or raise your hand and then we'll choose you. Somebody who dropped their idea, raise your hand. Let's talk through this really quickly. Anyone raise their hand? All right. Emily. Oh, I saw Peach too. So, all right. Let's go, Emily. I saw your hand first. So, Miss Emily, tell me what was your skill you have, a violinist.
Yes, hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you. So your one skill. So tell me, who does that skill help?
Well, I've been a violinist most of my life, first of
Okay.
all, and I recently have been more playing as a professional violinist because of demand and people making the request, but it wasn't my initial intent in my life to do that. I mean, I have an MBA, I have a business background, international business banking, and I'm also an entrepreneur. But my violin has definitely taken center stage of late. Not only performing, but also teaching. And I launched an online violin academy to help adults learn violin. So those are some ways that I have been using my violin.
All right. So there's multiple ways that can help. Tell me one action step you'll take in the next 72 hours to start what we would say the hustle portion to full entrepreneurship. What's your entrepreneur already? So what action, one action step, if you can share with us quickly, that you can take?
Okay, well, one of the things I am working on my online community, as I mentioned, and one of the things I need to do more of is send emails to nurture the email list that I have. And so that is one step that I definitely want to take to work with converting people to maybe taking lessons or doing something, and at least communicating. So that I would say communicating.
About this new skill that you would like, not new, but would like to share with the world. Let the world know that you would like to share with you being a violinist with them.
Yes, yes, and
Awesome.
do more posting on social media. I do, but more consistently because that's how, because I've played at weddings. I was recently booked for a wedding because someone saw my social media, a YouTube video. So,
Awesome. So that shares that we all can take a step towards our hustle to make it active, and we have something that we can do in the next 72 hours. Thank you all for the additional time this evening. Did we have any questions? I don't think I missed any. I think
did
this
I?
question,
Oh.
I think this question was for you, Khalil, where it says here, how do you use AI with what you do?
Oh, I'm loving AI. Funny enough, I just started using AI this year, probably around February, March. So I'm still an AI baby, but in that time, I have learned so much. And I'm like, why? After I started, I was like, why was I doing this the long way when this technology exists? So I'm all into Chat GPT. Chat knows all my business, and it helps me in the script writing. It helps me refine things. It helps me come up with ideas. We use it to generate our thumbnail ideas, our thumbnail titles, because sometimes those things, we have a weekly production meeting and we spend a good amount of time just thinking about what should we call this episode before we post it on YouTube. Like we have the interview idea, we know who we're going to talk to, we know what we're going to talk about, but just coming up with that 4-word phrase or 5-word phrase that's going to get somebody to click on it, we spend an inordinate amount of time just going back and forth on what should we call things. And so now we have Chat GPT, we give it the concept and it gives us like 10 ideas. We pick the best one and it saves us so much time in that. We're using AI also. So in generating the entire scripts, with our input, of course. So I've given it my framework I have a book. It's called Money Mission, the Money Mission Workbook. You can get this on Amazon or through moneymissionja.com. So I uploaded the entire book to ChatGPT. This book was not written by chat. This book was written by me by hand on my computer. I uploaded it, and so now it has my framework for how I think and how I would potentially answer questions and how I would phrase certain things. So now that it knows me and it knows my work, it has a history of how I usually write. It can now write like me and use my framework to basically generate anything else that we want to do from here on out. We also use AI in video generation. So it used to take an entire person. I had a person whose job it was to take our long form content, watch it, find the best clips, edit the clips, post the clips. Now, by the time we finish doing our live, AI is doing that automatically. So
wow.
stuff that used to take a day, like it would take a physical person a day to do all that work, it's now done automatically within seconds. So we have AI doing that. There's another product called Notebook LM, which is part of the Google Workspace.
Yeah.
And I recently tested it out to do a segment for the show, a segment called The Analysts, where we had our analysts canceled at the last minute. So I didn't have a guest for the segment, which should have been about 10 minutes long. And I uploaded the information to Notebook LM. I uploaded all the financial reports and I said, generate a podcast on this topic. And it did. And it did it with video images and everything. And so we had our 10-minute segment because our guest canceled at the last minute. And it was really good. The only thing people didn't like was the AI voice, but I know how to overcome that obstacle next time. Next time, I'm going to download the transcript and just read the voice in my own voice and then use it along with the videos that it generated. So that helps. But the AI is getting better and better. My objective is to be able to clone myself, to create my digital clone so that I can always look this young and beautiful.
I know that's right. Thank you.
And I don't have to work anymore.
Thank you so much. Makisha, Kalia, Annette, thank you so much. I turn over to Yvette for the evening.
Listen, what a great conversation. What a great group of people that are so knowledgeable about the work they do, the business space, what it takes to scale a business. And we're so grateful for you to give us your time and your knowledge to share that with us. And I hope after we get off this call, we'll challenge ourselves that in the next 72 hours, we will be doing something else that we've been stalling or being afraid to do. With that, I want to talk about some of the things that we have coming up. Our next fireside chat will be in September, and this one will be about repping yard, building yard, culture investment, and impact abroad. So everything Jamaica, how to invest in Jamaica. Kalila has all the knowledge, so go follow her on her page. She'll help you with that as well. But that will be the next fireside chat, which will be September 24th. The next thing I want to share with you is just JWOF on a whole and some of our events that are coming up. We welcome you to participate with in some of them. The first one is right now we have our back to school drive, which is going from July 1st all the way down to July 31st. We also have our Sweet and Dandy, which is our big fundraising event to help support our scholarships that we use to support our generational like women from Jamaican descent. This will be on the 31st. Tickets are now available. You can chat with one of us online right now if you want a ticket, or you can go to Eventbrite if that works for you. It's going to be at 8 p.m. at R&D Sports Bar. The next thing is our health and wellness fair. This is a free health fair for our community. It's going to be August 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Spread the word around. And then in September, we have our upcoming College and Career Pathways Forum. The last thing is, as usual, we do record all of our fireside chats. The last two, they're now on our YouTube channel. If you want to go ahead and please take your phone out and subscribe to the channel, we do appreciate you being a part of this community. So I'm going to pause for 30 seconds. So you all take your phones out and scan and subscribe. We're trying to build our YouTube channel. Plus, you can always go back and watch the recording for things that you might have missed or might have just gone pretty fast and you missed it. All right. And as usual, to make our fireside chat better, we do welcome your feedback. Please go ahead again and scan. And I think there are 2 or 3 questions in the feedback. We do appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's now 8:30. And so